The 2019 Toyota Highlander is America's second best-selling midsize SUV, and there are many reasons why people love it. However, the 2020 Highlander is here. It is bigger, more refined, and much more upscale. This video is part 2 of my Highlander review series. Part 1, I showcased the brand new Highlander and compared it to the 2019 model. And if you haven't watched it, click above right now. This video, which is part 2, I'm going to showcase the 2019 Toyota Highlander and bring up reasons why you may want to grab a 2019 while they are still being sold. There are some compelling reasons why. Alright, let's get started. Now first, I want to give a big shout out to Continental Toyota for making this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Toyota, then definitely check out Continental Toyota. Their information is on the screen and also in the description of this video. The third generation of the Highlander was introduced in 2014, and since then, there has been several exterior refreshes to keep up with the times. The 2019 Highlander is much more squared off and chiseled and reminds me of the profile of a Grand Cherokee, which to me has the perfect look for a midsize SUV. The front end is dominated by a large chrome grille that carries into the lower bumper, and take a look at those large headlights. Headlights are halogen across all trims, but the upper trims get projector treatment. Fog lights are also available on the upper trims. On the side, the proportions on the 2019 looks right for a midsize SUV. High roof, short overhang, and squared off wheel fenders. Lower trims get 18-inch alloy wheels, while upper trims get 19-inch wheels like you see here. The back end, especially the tail lights, remind me of a Grand Cherokee. Same shape, same look. On top, there's a large spoiler with a large privacy glass, and on bottom, a lot of black cladding. Here's a quick look of the front, side, and back of a 2019 versus a 2020. Moving on to the trunk, the 2019 Highlander is shorter than the 2020, so there is less cargo room behind the third row and second row. However, with all the seats down, the cargo room is actually very similar. Underneath the bottom cover, you have tools, your privacy cover, and spare tire. Seats fold down by tugging on the straps on the seat backs. Inside this limited trim, you are greeted with black leather with a pair of captain chairs. For amenities, you get a pair of USB ports, a household outlet, and climate controls, same as 2020. Also, second row sunshades are here, but they are a bit more difficult to get hooked. Here is another minor reasons why the 2019 may be better than the 2020, and that's third row access for the kids. Take a look at the fold-out cup holders. When you need them, fold them out, but when you don't, fold them back down. In the 2020, there are cup holders that stick up from the floor, which are not removable. This is something small, but I thought is worth mentioning. For adults, you have to fold down the second row. The opening to get in the third row is smaller than the 2020, and the seats are just as uncomfortable. As for the second row, I'm 5 feet 10, and I have a good 8 to 10 inches of legroom and at least 6 inches of headroom. I feel it's just as spacious in the 2019 Highlander versus the 2020. Moving on to the front, the cabin of the 2019 looks okay. Clearly, the 2020 has an edge and looks a lot more upscale, but nothing is terrible in the 2019. The steering wheel has a good thickness, and the 10 and 2 spots are actually a little bit thicker than the 2021. The buttons on the left control the info screen where you could get some useful information about your Highlander and some safety features where you could turn on or off. Left buttons are for volume, radio modes, and phone controls. Buttons on the left side of the steering wheel are for auto high beam, engine auto start stop, power tailgate, and parking sensors. Moving on to the infotainment screen, this is where 2019 Highlander shows its age. The screen has large icons, and around the side there are some quick navigation buttons, but the interface, resolution, responsiveness is lacking. And also, no Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto. Climate control below is okay. The knobs for temperature are a little bit too thin, but all the other buttons are big and easy to understand, such as fan control, rear temperature, defroster options. The shelf underneath the controls span to the passenger side and is much larger than the ones you see in the 2020 model. Underneath the shelf, you have buttons for traction control, snow mode, hill descent, and locking center differential. You have a standard shifter, cup holders, heated and ventilated seat controls, but those controls look very dated to me, like what you would find from a 1990s Lexus. The armrest is covered in hard plastic and they aren't very functional. Inside, just a tray and a lot of space. On top, you have a sunroof. Now, the 2019 Highlander has two engine options. The base L trim comes with a 2.7 liter four-cylinder, pushing 185 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. This engine is mated to a 6-speed auto. All other trims get a 3.5 liter V6, pushing 295 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque. Now, this engine is mated to an 8-speed auto. As for safety features, the 2019 Highlander is equipped with Toyota Safety Sense P, which includes pre-collision system, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert, and auto high beams. What's missing versus the 2020 Highlander is lane tracing assist, which keeps you within the lanes when used in conjunction with the dynamic cruise control, and also road sign assist, which can read the speed limit signs. Alright, I'm behind the wheel of this 2019 Toyota Highlander, and I'm going to see how this is on the roads. So first impression is, I actually really like this driving position. This is a midsize SUV, and you definitely get that commanding view. And that's surprising. I thought this Highlander would sit lower to the ground, but actually when I'm sitting here behind the steering wheel, I actually get a really good commanding view of the road, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy that. Now, in addition to this commanding view, I will say that these seats are actually really comfortable. They're really soft. They don't hold me in as well as I would like, but I do feel like, you know what, the bottom cushion is nice and soft, it's holding my butt, and overall I think this is a seat that I could be driving for hours upon hours and still be comfortable in. So I do like these seats quite a bit. Now, in terms of visibility, it's actually really good as well. Because of the seating position, I could see well over the hood. No problems with that. There's nothing on the hood that's bulging out or anything that I can't see over. The windshield is big. The side windows are nice and big. Blind spot back there, very, very narrow, but on this Limited, you do get blind spot monitoring, so that's not a problem as well. Now, and the back window, even with the third row headrest up, they don't block the middle. They're kind of out of the way, so I could still see out the back window, which is really nice. You know, I don't hear much at all from the engine, from the exhaust, from the road. Cars passing by, I don't hear it. It is really well insulated, except for the fact that the window seams, maybe some of the insulation is not put on as good as it should be, because I do hear a little bit of wind noise creep through, but outside of that, it is a really, really quiet ride in here. Now, I've owned a few Highlanders in the past, the first generation and the second generation, which both had very light steering. And some people like that, some people don't. So I'm surprised by the steering in this one. It's actually a lot heavier. It's a surprise. So when you're making turns, you do feel it. It's heavier than before. And I do enjoy that. It feels like, you know, there's more weight to it, and you're more, you know, connected with this Highlander. Unfortunately, though, it's not very precise. So there is play, as you can see, like this does not cause any movement in the Highlander. As for the steering wheel itself, I like the bolstering on here, the 10 and 2 spot, nice and thick. The leather is a little bit slippery, but you know what? I think a lot of you guys would enjoy this. Okay, just accelerate up to 60 miles per hour. I think this engine, this V6, naturally aspirated, pushing 295 horsepower, it does the job. The same thing with this transmission. I got up to speed relatively quick. I didn't feel like that was slow at all, and in terms of passing, you guys won't have a problem. And the engine is actually very quiet. You know, even under full acceleration, there wasn't much noise. All right, so as for suspension, I'm on a freeway that's pretty bumpy. Let me change to the middle lane here because this is the bumpiest lane out of these three. So as for suspension, it's okay. When it was smooth roads, it definitely was very comfortable. But now that there's a lot more bumps and dips and imperfections, I do feel it quite a bit. More so than some of the other SUVs I've tested recently. It's not bad, but you know what? It could be better. The brakes are normal. They don't feel mushy and they catch on when expected. Doesn't catch on too early or too late, so brakes are good. For the 2019 Toyota Highlander, there are 6 trim levels with a base L starting around $31,830 and a limited platinum topping out around $47,510. On all trims, all-wheel drive adds on about $1,500. However, right now with the 2020s out, Toyota dealerships are discounting the 2019s heavily. Many Highlanders are being sold with 3, 4, 5, or even 6K off MSRP, and there are still plenty of 2019s in stock. Lastly, let's do the good and bad versus a 2020 Highlander. Starting with the good, some may prefer the exterior styling of the 2019 over the 2020. Visibility is slightly better and the back window does open. Third row access is slightly easier for the kids because of the fold-out cup holders. Same engine, transmission, and gets the same fuel economy. The 2019 has a very comfortable and quiet ride that is similar to the new model. And lastly, probably the biggest good is the substantial discount right now on the 2019s versus the new model. As for the bad versus the 2020 Highlander, some may prefer the new exterior styling. The infotainment and cabin just looks dated and is dated. There's smaller cargo room overall, and it lacks certain tech features such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So, in the end, which one do you prefer, the 2019 or 2020? Leave your thoughts below. I'm giving the 2019 Toyota Highlander an overall score of 94. And if you want to see how it compares to the brand new Highlander and others, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, hit the like and subscribe to the channel, and check out these other videos.